Good afternoon and welcome to She Bites Daily. I'm your host and raging feminist MANDALENA, and these are your major MeToo news to just past noon. Former interim leader for the Conservative Party, Rona Ambrose, spoke in front of Senate last night about the need for judges to undergo extra training in dealing with sexual abuse cases. Ambrose says that what we already know, in fact, that survivors do not trust the legal system.
Now, from a societal context, sexual violence is described as a silent epidemic by some. The statistics are staggering. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men will experience sexual violence in their lifetime. For Indigenous women and girls, the numbers are much worse. They are 5 times more likely to suffer sexual violence than non-Aboriginal women. And if these numbers are not alarming enough, Mr. Chair, 95% of women who are sexually assaulted remain silent. And men and boys are even less likely to report their experiences. And when asked why, according to Justice Canada research, 2/3 of the victims will say they have no faith in the courts. So I think, Senators, that we can do better.
Yes, Bill 337 has been controversial because it was passed by the House of Commons nearly 800 days ago in May of 2017. One problem with the bill is that it targets only federal judges, not provincial judges, which is a significant point to make since most sexual assault cases are heard by provincial judges. Nearly 8 in 10 Canadians find that the Catholic Church has failed at handling clerical sexual abuse. An Angus Reid survey asked, and let's pull that up so you can see that. An Angus Reid survey asked 1,611 Canadians about their beliefs and opinions now that the church has been ousted. Half said it skewed their view of the Catholic institution. 17% say it ruined their opinion of the following. Only 7% said that the church is being open and as honest as possible. The chairman of Angus Reid, who identifies himself as a Catholic, called the results, quote unquote, outstanding.
What they did.
Pardon, let's start again. A French MeToo leader is now being sued by the man she accused of sexually harassing her. New York-based French journalist Sandra Muller spoke about her French TV executive Eric Briand making sexually explicit comments to her in October of 2017, as the Harvey Weinstein stories were breaking. Mueller shared a tweet that said, "You too can share and give the name and details of any sexual harassment you have experienced in workplaces with the hashtag balance ton porc, which translates to squeal on your pig." Mueller then shared her experience of being humiliated by Briand and quoted the comment he made about her body. She subsequently took lead in the MeToo movement in France.
What they did with this hashtag, and they did a lot, and not only in France, in Hong Kong, in Japanese. It's an international movement.
Yes. In December of 2017, Briand published a column in Le Monde newspaper admitting that he made inappropriate remarks to Mueller at a cocktail party, but only once. Weeks later, Briand launched a lawsuit against her seeking $55,000 in damages and $17,000 in legal fees and demands Mueller delete the tweet mentioning his name. Mueller is known as the woman, again, who kickstarted France's MeToo movement. Current and former Papa John's employees are speaking out about systemic sexual harassment at their workplace through an online campaign. Today, coworker.org broke a tweet about their campaign to hold the pizza company chain accountable for widespread sexual abuse and fervent toxic culture. In July of 2018, Papa John founder John Schnatter was accused of sexual misconduct, being racist, and fostering a bro culture. A woman says he stalked her and groped her in 1999, and he claims she was trying to extort him for $5 million. Schnatter denied all allegations, but resigned after a recording was leaked of him using the N-word during media training.
I don't condone racism in any way, period. It's just wrong. It was a mistake. It was horrible.
The coworker.org petition has nearly 5,000 signatures in support of sharing current and former Papa John employees who have suffered from sexual misconduct. The petition will be presented to the Equal Employment Opportunity Centre. An Australian dictionary says MeToo is the country's word of the year. According to Macquarie Dictionary, MeToo is their top word of 2018, beating out the word big dick energy, single use, and deep fake. The use of MeToo was first coined by U.S. activist Tarana Burke in the mid-2000s. The word went viral in 2017 after actor Alyssa Milano encouraged victims of sexual abuse to come forward during the wake of the Harvey Weinstein allegations. The definition of the phrase was added to the dictionary, where it is defined as an adjective relating to the Me Too movement and a verb which means to accuse someone of having committed sexual harassment or assault, also known as to be too'd. The irony is Australia's Me Too movement has not been significant in the media due to what they themselves call the most hostile defamation laws in the world. A convinced Australian judge ordered the Daily Telegraph to pay nearly $1 million to actor Geoffrey Rush after they published a story accusing him of sexual misconduct in 2017, which he fervently denied.
I have found that Mr. Rush is entitled to aggravated damages for a number of reasons. This was, in all circumstances, a recklessly irresponsible piece of sensationalist journalism of the worst kind, the very worst kind. I also found that Mr. Rush's hurt and injury was increased by the features of the 30 November 2017 articles, which I have summarised. In all of the circumstances, it was difficult to avoid the conclusion that it was calculated to damage. Having regard to those considerations and to all of the circumstances of the case generally, I consider that the appropriate award of aggravated compensatory damages to Mr. Rush is $150,000.
Since that judgment, more allegations have surfaced against Geoffrey without any of it being proven in court. The committee who came up with the word of the year for the Macquarie Dictionary were made up of journalists, writers, academics who said the phrase has definitely maintained its momentum since 2017. Well, these have been your major Me Too news up to noon. Please stay tuned for today's truth-smacking commentary about women getting raped by the men who sexually abuse them. Oh dear, here we go. All right. So one of the strongest weapons the patriarchy is using during this Me Too movement is to silence women, to shut us up, to make us fear speaking up and sharing each other's stories. It's because the power of our stories are in fact stronger than the patriarchy's want to yield profit and support and dominate. We are the biggest threat. Their favorite go-to tool, of course, are non-disclosure agreements. NDAs are used across the corporate and institutional world as gag orders on survivors. These NDAs are forced on victims and encouraged by lawyers and union lawyers alike. The problem is, once a woman signs the NDA, she is bound by law to shut up. It is then that the rapist, predator, harasser claps back with defamation lawsuits and a grand public re-victimizing. Take, for instance, former Alaska Airlines pilot Betty Pena. Betty came forward about being drugged and raped by her co-pilot Paul Anglian on a layover in Minnesota in 2017. Betty signed an NDA as part of the settlement against the company. Since doing so, her rapist, who has never been legally charged, of course, has now gone public in a lawsuit against Alaska Airlines for wrongful dismissal and defamation. In doing so, he's smearing Betty, calling her a liar, a drunk, and a problem employee. Betty can't say a damn word about her rapist or the company who protects pilots like him because of her NDA. Those who encourage women to sign sexual abuse NDAs are complicit. Women should break their NDAs, as in the case with 24-year-old Geronda Pace, who broke her NDA to speak out about the sexual abuse she endured from artist R. Kelly, who said, quote, "If I can speak out and if I can help others to get them out of that situation, that's what I will do. I didn't have anybody to speak to on my behalf when I was going through what I was going through with him." So there you have it. Break your NDAs, ladies. This has been your She Bites commentary today. Thanks so much for joining She Bites Daily News. We were a little bit late with today's cast, but we do have some IT issues starting up as a new media company, so we appreciate you tuning in. So it's been a pleasure serving your She Bites Daily News today. See you again tomorrow, and until then, survive, disobey, and document.